What is up, everyone? Welcome to round 6, the finals of the Sin City 2025 Eternal Central Open. We've got the top 2 decks competing for that top trophy, an amazing championship ring. So without further ado, let's get into those deck lists. First up is Jared, or Gerard. I'm gonna say Jared. You can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce it, but that's what we're gonna run with, playing what I'm gonna call blue-white Lion Chi. And it's not quite the deck. It's not running Abysses. It's not quite as oppressive. It does still have a fully powered list. It is still running some Black Splash for Demonic Tutor and Mind Twist, but overall you're focusing more on the creature-based damage. You have 3 Sarah Angels, 4 Suchis, 4 Savannah Lions, and you're really just trying to beat down a little bit more that way. The list does run a lot of removal in 4 counter spells, mana drain, 2 divine offerings, 2 disenchants, 4 swords to plowshares, and of course the orb. But overall, this is still just a very cool list to see. There is some fun stuff in the sideboard as well, with 4 copy artifacts, which is, I don't think, a normal thing to see, but that's pretty fun, especially if you're copying your own Suchis, or you can ramp out a little bit too, but that's kind of a cool add. There's also 2 control magics, 2 city in a bottles, 2 more disenchants, a divine offering, some blue elemental blasts, a spirit link, and a circle of protection red. Cool list, very strong list. I can see why it's made it all the way to the finals. So let's see who he's playing against. Next up is Michael with one of the more chaotic deck photos I've seen. Parsing through this, I'm pretty sure this is just red-green Atog with a ton of splashes, a ton of spice, and a ton of power as well. But the primary goal is getting an Atog out, beating down face, having lots of artifacts to sacrifice. You do have some backup creatures with 4 Argothian Pixies and 2 Urnum Djinns, and a little bit of extra damage with 2 Psionic Blasts. But ultimately, though, this is an Atog list. You're looking to slam a ton of artifacts, get in that early advantage those artifacts provide, and then sack them into swinging for an Alpha Strike with an Atog. It's a little tough to tell what's actually in the sideboard. I'm assuming this stack here at the bottom with the blue elemental blast, shatters, Ankh, avoid fate, 2 copy artifacts, a red elemental blast, 2 Hurkyl's Recall, a falling star, a control magic, a tranquility, and a balance are all the sideboard cards. So everything above the fold is in the main deck. And yeah, this is a cool list. There's some really cool altars here, a couple of top finishes, so you know that Michael actually knows what he's doing when he's playing these cards. And it's pretty obvious he's pretty used to being in the final. So let's just get into the games. And here we go. Jared is on the left, Michael is on the right. It's like Michael has opted to not use the dice here, instead he's going to have his phone out, which is fine. Not as cool as having the old school dice, but whatever. You're in the finals, you can do whatever you want. And again, also just pronunciation of Jared's name. I'm not sure if it's Jared or Gerard. I'm going to go with Jared. I apologize again if that's incorrect, but I'm just making a best guess here. All right, so it looks like both players are potentially happy with their 7. I think Michael still deciding. Oh, looks like we're removing the dice altogether. Michael will just be keeping score for both players. All right, Michael will start us off with a mock start. And how about some quick damage to start things off with a Black Vice? Go ahead and take 3. They're drawn for turn. Turn 1 Vice is pretty nasty, especially when your opponent leads off with the Library of Alexander. Alright, so we got Loa. How about a Shock as well? Damage coming fast and furious. Untap, draw. There's a Demonic Tutor. And did Michael miss his 2nd land drop? He can tutor. Does he want to tutor for more mana? He has a Time Walk as well. Do you tutor for a Lotus into a Time Walk? That seems bad, but maybe. Do you just tutor for another Mox? Do you tutor for a land? You tutor for a strip to get rid of the Loa? I think you just tutored for an orb, if I'm not mistaken. I guess deciding if that's what he actually wants to tutor for. Maybe a little side table discussion happening here. Or deciding if that's what he actually wants. He did put the top card he tutored for, so that is what he tutored for. No, we're going to keep it. Okay. Giving it some serious thought. I mean, we are in the finals. This is just game one, but every decision counts here. And did he grab... Oh, no, he did grab a strip. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, strip for the Loa. Absolutely. Jared will draw off of it. Getting to trigger it once. But we'll take 4 damage? Yeah. Not too shabby. Draw for turn. Let's see a Plains and... How about a Savannah Lions? Now, the Savannah Lions is not going to last very long against a Bolt, but... At least it's not a Bolt going to the face. Alright, there's an Atog. Still no second land for Michael. Taking another 3, though, off of the Vice, and that Bolt may just be saved for a direct to face. Alright, there's a Disenchant. Black Vice doing more than enough. He will sack the Black Vice to the Atog, but the line is not going to swing in. Alright, there's a bit more ramp. Get a Soul Ring. I believe he also has a Nurturing Pixie. Which he's not going to cast. Or is that a... No, I think that is a Nurturing Pixie. I don't think that's a... Tough to tell. If it is an Urnum, he can play it next turn. He still doesn't have a blue source for the Time Walk. And he did not leave red open for the Bolt, which is interesting. I would have maybe tapped the Mox to leave the Bolt open. Okay, we are gonna do 3. Oh, what is that? Oh, Mind Twist. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Mind Twist for 2. The Black Vice is no longer on the board, so Mind Twist becomes a lot better here. Let's see if we can hit something good. Okay, we hit a Sarah Angel and a Disenchant. Very good hits, especially with that Soul Ring coming out. And Michael's mana being very much tied up in artifacts right now. I believe that's the second Disenchant. Okay, Atog gonna swing in. Sack the Mox to the Atog. Lion is down. Oh, there's a Swords for the Atog. That will work. Gain life. A Strip for the Taiga. And both players denying each other resources as best they can. There's a Strip, so that Strip is probably hitting the Plains. Or maybe the Underground Sea. Underground Sea seems like a better hit here. Yes, we did see some 1-drops from Jared, but I don't know if each player knows what the other is on. The Underground Sea is kind of odd. Michael's only seen white cards from Jared, so it does indicate potentially more to the deck. Yeah, he is just going to hit the Underground Sea. It could indicate, of course, power. It's pretty safe to assume that most top decks here at these tables are running fully powered lists, so blue splash is pretty important. And just draw go from Michael. Draw go. We're going to have a couple of draw goes here while each player tries to find lands. There's an Underground Sea. Your go. And Michael cannot find lands here, unfortunately. Jared is finding his land drops, though. He does have a Mana Leak up as well. And that's still no lands, so back to Jared. Jared's just going to pass. Still no lands. Back to Jared. Jared hitting another land drop. And at some point, you got to be considering a threat. Okay, there's a Relic Barrier. That's something. It's no land. Say go. We're going to tap down the Soul Ring just in case. Alright, there's a Mishra's Factory. Not animated currently, but just leaving it up there. Okay, there's a Black Vice. He will take a point of mana burn to do so, but damage is back on the clock. Unless we're going to mana leak here, which I think we will. Yep, there is a mana leak. Jared gets a free mana next turn. Michael probably just going to wait to tap down the factory, I would imagine. Yep, just going to pass. No reason to give your opponent free 2 damage. He's going to use that mana to animate the factory. Factory will get tapped. Yep, and Jared just pointed out the mana came from the mana leak. Get it in your first main phase, and it's just going to pass. I thought I saw a Sarah Angel maybe not wanting to run it out here in order to keep up counter magic. Oh, we got a little table bump here. And Michael just not having any luck with lands is actually gonna, I think, go to discard here. Hitting that Taiga being huge for Jared, basically keeping him alive. Okay, gonna ditch a Fireball and pass. And we'll see if Jared can actually just get back into this game. Stabilizing at 7 seems huge. Okay, are we gonna see a Sarah Angel coming out? We do. Alright, there's a Sarah. A turn late. But still gonna be super relevant, because Michael can just not draw lands. It is sort of relevant, I guess, going to look at deck lists and when you're building old school deck lists. Like, yes, mocks do just replace lands, but they are way easier to kill than lands. Going to discard again. Discarding Ermjin. I almost wonder if it's worth it just to go up a little more on lands. Maybe mocks are like 0.75 of a land or something, so if you're running the full set, you still take care of some lands. Alright, Sarah Angel cracking in. First blood on Michael. He just needs to find a red source, I think. There's a Time Walk. Alright. Very well-timed Time Walk. Should have taken a point to do that, I think, right? From the city? Maybe I missed that. Either way, we'll see if it's relevant. Plays another land this turn. Relic Barrier is down, so you can crack in for 2. He's going to use both mana on the factory, swing in for 6. And suddenly Michael's at 10. Your go. Still no land. Pass to you. They're getting excited. Ooh, there's an Ancestral. Recall. Draw some cards. Who doesn't like to draw cards? Gonna do that. I see his hand's getting a little shaky. He can tell he's so close to winning the first game. Very exciting. Now he keeps using both of the Soul Ring mana on the factory. Okay, it looks like this time he will not. He is going to actually take care of the Relic Barrier. Animate the factory, swing in for another 6. Michael needs to find an answer for this Sarah or he is out of the game. Oh, no, how about just a Psionic Blast? All right, that's going to be game number 1 going to Jared. And here we are in game number 2. Jared having a little unfortunate luck there with his card draw. And Jared stabilizing at 7, which Actually, was more stabilizing at like 2 or 3 based on how much burn Michael had in his hand. I think there was at least 1 lightning bolt, 1 chain lightning, maybe something else. He also pitched a fireball, so any red source within those last like 4 or 5 turns would have been enough. But that's just sometimes how the game goes. Little discussion happening here while both players talk through. I can't hear game audio, but I'm sure Michael's just commiserating the bad luck. But here are a few good lands. We do see a Loa and a volcanic island and a Mox. We got a Mox Sapphire. Is this keepable though? I see a lot of green cards. Do you just keep on a Loa? Oh, he does actually have a tropical island as well. Okay, this seems like a keepable hand. Maybe it's deciding what he wants to play out first. Do you just play the Loa, try to get some action? There's a Black Vice too, so he's thinking Loa Black Vice maybe? It does put you off your 7 a little bit, but it's hard to say no to a lightning bolt immediately. And we'll see what Jared has to work with here. He drew a Mishra's Factory. Gonna play out of Plains though. Alright, we're going straight for the aggro plan. Do a lion. Say go. There's a birds. And Michael opting to not do anything here, just wanting to get his library back up to speed. They're going to take 2 off of the Vice. Going to play out a whole bunch of stuff. Sooner you can get under that, the better. Can he do anything with all that open mana, though? Got 3. Nope, we're just going to pass. Alright, 7. Draw for the library. Now, Michael did take a turn off to do this. I don't see much in the way of interactive spells in his hand. He does have a birds. Of course, he's only going to play out of Plains. Or not Plains, a land. Or is he just going to pass? Just asking how many cards you have in hand, I guess. Interesting. Is that a regrowth in his hand and a void fate? And maybe that's a fireball behind the tropical island? I can't really tell. It is a fireball, okay. Growthian Pixies. They're gonna play tropical. Do you play out the... Yeah, I wonder if you play out the Pixies. Just abandon the Loa plan right now. Your opponent has pressure on the board. Play out the Sapphire, tap both for the Pixies. Have a good blocker for the Factory. Okay, instead we're going to play out birds. And say go. Alright, Jared has 2 attackers here. We are going to strip the Loa. So, Michael making the smart play here of actually playing a little bit more to the board. Okay, we're going to animate the Factory. Swinging for 4. 14 all. There's a Psionic Blast. Not sure if you want to use that to take care of... Alright, everything coming out of Michael's hand now. No Loa necessary. Yeah, I don't think you want to use the Psionic Blast on the Lion by any means. Do you just play out the Pixie now? It blocks the same on the factory, so you're only taking 2 next turn. Alright, we are going to play out the Pixie. Leaving up 2 blue, bluffing the counter spell. Just having a Void Fate. I believe that's a regrowth. And of course the Psionic Blast that he cannot cast. Nope, just gonna pass. Okay. I wonder if there's some reason for the pause. Okay, gonna take 1 off of Black Vice. We're gonna play a land. And it's just gonna go to combat with the Lion, which is smart. Save your mana. You now have 4 open. The Plains, a Tundra. Are we doing anything with mana? Nope, we're just gonna pass. Okay, cool. There's a Bolt. That's a great answer for a Lion or a Factory. Is this now where Michael starts to get a little aggressive? Maybe swinging in with the Pixie. It is only a bit of damage, but every little bit counts. Your opponent is already at 13. The really weird choice, I guess you could like Fireball the Lion and then save up a red for Factory. Fireballing a Lion, though, seems like a bad time. Alright, we are going to bolt. What are we bolting? Just direct to the dome. Okay. Like it says, we are racing. Catch me if you can. And pass. Now, does he actually get there with... the Vice didn't deal any damage this turn. Is that right? Tough to tell. Okay, I think we're animating the Factory. No, okay, we're tapping for 2. There's an orb. Alright. Moving to combat. Potentially. Michael had that Avoid Fate just ready to fire off. And actually, Jared not swinging in here. Okay, there's another Vice. Now, looks like Jared only has 4 cards in hand. So it's not doing anything now. Michael deciding what he wants to do here. Do you... The Fireball is kind of his win con, although he does have Psionic Blast. Your opponent has all their mana open for the most part. Alright, Psionic Blast first. That will get mana drained. And then we're just playing out another Vice? Okay, looks like it. Let's say go. Alright, so Jared getting 3 mana that he has to deal with. He can just filter it all through the factory. Also drew another factory, which is super relevant. He can't swing in. That Pixie is still there. But he will have to animate the factory to avoid taking damage, unless he can somehow cast something. He can use some of it on the orb. Are we going to get an orb flip here? It looks like it. Alright, we are orb flipping on the Pixie. And that is good. Pixie is down. Alright, so that does clear the path for the factory. And it can get in for 3, if he so chooses. Okay, didn't need to do that. He still had 2 mana floating. But whatever works. Okay, there is an Ankh of Mishra. That seems a little too late, unfortunately. Now, if that is a regrowth in Michael's hand, he could regrowth for the Psionic Blast. That doesn't seem great either. I think he might need to actually burn the Fireball on a Lion, and even that is not quite good enough. Unfortunately, it looks like Jared may have just stabilized at 7 again in the second game. He doesn't have lethal quite yet on the board. He can only swing in for at most 6 damage next turn. If he draws another Mishra's Factory, that'll push him over the edge. And Michael will have to block with the birds. Michael in a bit of a sticky situation for sure. You can only Fireball for 3 here. Alright, we're gonna Fireball for 1 on the Lion, looks like. Buy as much time as possible. Unfortunately, that is going to get counterspelled. Yep. I think with that, Michael is out of options. Yeah, swinging in for 6 next turn. And if Jared has any kind of direct damage, like one of his Psionic Blasts, it will just be over next turn. Michael just thinking through. This is a very important moment. But again, I don't know if there's much he can do. He can regrowth for something. But I don't know what he regrowths for. That's going to get him out of this. He could get a Pixie. That can block one of the factories next turn, but that's not enough. You can get a Bolt to take care of one of the factories, but that's not enough. Alright, we are going to regrowth here. Tapping for 2. Jared, wondering, what do you got in hand? Alright, there's a regrowth. Yeah. Does it resolve? I mean, Jared only has a plains, but yeah. Gonna grab the pixie. Or the bolt. Okay, bolt back to hand. Here we go. There's a Loa. Just gonna play it out. Might as well. Animate the factory. Animate the factory. Swing in. Drop 2, 1. Your go. Can Michael stabilize? Yes, that is a factory. He does have the bolt. He can double block, kill one thing. Are we gonna bolt the lion here? Yep, looks like it. Okay. So yes, he can trade with one of the factories, potentially. Birds can chump block for the other one. So not dead yet. So let's say go. Is that a counterspell? I think that's a counterspell. All right. This is all but over. Jared gonna swing in with both. Chump block there. Animate the factory. Chump block the other one. Oh, he had a disenchant effect. Oh no. There's an avoid fate. And he can just counter it, right? Yeah, off the counter spell they do. Yep, there it is. And that is going to be the game. Jared takes it down in a clean 2-0 and is the Sin City Open 2025 champion. All right. Well, that was a pretty cool set of games. Jared getting to do the thing with his Lion Chi deck. Unfortunately, Michael having very good starts early on, but not able to just close the gap for the last point of 7 damage both times. But hey, sometimes that just happens. Thank you for watching through this entire tournament series. We are going to jump into the Sin City pre-modern tournament that happened the night before this next, so be prepared for that. If you're looking for more old school, don't worry, we got War of the Roses coming up, and I will actually be in Seattle as well for that X-Files tournament that's happening, so plenty more old school to come, so make sure you're subscribed so you can find your way back. If you want to support the channel, there is a Patreon link in the video description. That money goes towards gear upgrades, travel expenses to go to tournaments like these, and just making more pre-modern videos. I'm also going to start including Patreon names in the videos, so if you want to get in on that, make sure to do so. It'll be happening in the next month or so. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.